Hi, how are you? You guys are having an amazing day today. Hello.
Hi, I promise that this footage, that's your hand legitimately scares me. I promise that this footage is only blurry for the first like 3 minutes of the video. I so apologize that it's blurry, but none of my actual makeup application is blurry.
Amateur hour.
Okay. Anyway, thanks. So my biggest critic. I'll talk to you guys soon in the video. Bye.
So today's video, we are going to be playing with the brand new Rare Beauty palettes. I have a little bit of thoughts about this. So I did a video talking about Rare Beauty and doing like a full first impressions of all of their products, and I bought all of those products myself on the day that Rare Beauty launched. That video actually did really well. I was kind of surprised. But I also, in that video, if you've been watching for a minute, I got quite a bit of hate on that video, and it was basically because there was kind of an issue with the Rare Beauty packaging. A lot of people thought that the Rare Beauty packaging was specifically designed for people who have disabilities, who maybe have trouble opening things or something like that. Like Selena has lupus, so that's why everybody thought this. They thought that it was made for mobility purposes to help those types of issues. So in that video, I didn't criticize the packaging. I just was like, kind of weird, not sure if I like it. And a lot of people, actually really a lot of people, were very unhappy that I did not do research and did not know about the mobility thing and did not know that it was for a reason. And so in another video, I was like, well, just so you guys know, this is the reason. My bad. Happy to be corrected. But then it came out again that Rare Beauty actually did not design the packaging for that reason. It was not designed for people with disabilities. That was not really a part of the thought process in making it, and I was a little frustrated with the brand. If you're a brand and you just launched your first round of products, your social media people are going to be scouring the internet to figure out, you know, what people are saying. That's how probably they found my channel and my review. They are looking for what people are saying about the brand. So I can almost guarantee, especially given how many people were talking about it, I can almost guarantee that Rare Beauty saw the sort of rumor that started that it was for people with a disability, and Rare Beauty decided not to publicly comment on that. My whole thing is, I just kind of wish they had publicly put out a statement. Having a fiance who does have those issues, he has like, his nerves are pretty weak in his hands, and he does sometimes have issues gripping things and opening things. So having a fiance who deals with that, it did feel a little bit weird to me that they were okay with spreading a false narrative and okay with people buying those products specifically for that reason. It felt a little icky. So Rare Beauty did reach out to me after my video and after I publicly tweeted at them a couple times, and they offered to send me the palettes. And I'm not going to write off the brand right off the bat just because of like one faux pas, and I also think the palettes look cool. I liked like half of the products that I bought from the initial launch, so I do like the brand, but I just wanted to note that really quickly, that whole thing, because I feel as if there's kind of a lot of mystery about what's going on with this brand. Sorry if the camera angle is different. My battery died on my other camera and I want to still film this, so I'm gonna hopefully use this one, but if it's a little wonky, I apologize. But anyway, I don't think they sent this to me as like a bribe or anything. I think they just found my content and did that. But I did want to address that issue with the brand, just because while I don't think it's like, oh, strike against them, or I think they need to be canceled, just something kind of to note about the brand. I do definitely wish they had been a little bit more upfront and honest about that, but everything's kind of a learning experience. Again, first launch, not gonna hold it against them, but these are the palettes. They launched these, I believe these are their holiday palettes. This one is called Confident Energy, and this one is called Magnetic Spirit. So Confident Energy is a little bit more kind of blue green with like a little pop of pink. And then we also have Magnetic Spirit, which has a cool green tone and orange, and then some pinks and purples. I'm actually pretty excited about these palettes. I've swatched them and they look really nice. What I can kind of compare them to and what they kind of remind me of is those Too Faced palettes that were the, they were like their fruit themed collection. Their Tutti Frutti palettes, if I'm remembering correctly. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting off of these, except all shimmers. I will say I prefer all shimmer palettes to be smaller, so I prefer them to be trios or quads, like the Kajda Bento boxes, like the Pat McGrath quads. I find that a palette this big of only shimmers, I don't necessarily reach for it that often, but I will say to their credit, these are very concise, very small, and I think would be very easy to bring along as a companion to other palettes. So that's how I'm going to utilize it today. Today, I'm going to use my palette, Smokey Glow palette, mostly because I want to. And also with this pink and purple section, I think that, and even this orange, this whole palette besides this green, I think will complement this palette really well. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do today. Playing around with these palettes, just giving you honest opinions. So I'm gonna use this palette first just for the mattes, and then I will go in with the shimmers. And I'd like to ideally use one of these shimmers on my lower lash line as well, just to get like a really good vibe of how they perform. So I'm gonna go in with the white shade, just give myself a good base. So hi. How's everyone doing? I'm doing pretty horribly. I'm not thriving. I skipped Talktorial last week. I think I uploaded like a different style of video. It's really just because I honestly like had some things I wanted to talk about but didn't necessarily want to talk about them, you know? Oh, I forgot to mention this. This palette, my Smokey Glow palette, if you buy one in the next couple of weeks, we are including a free Hi Friends gloss with every order of the Smokey Glow palette. So that's a fun little promo we have going on. We didn't want those glosses to go to waste, so if you wanted to try the gloss and this, thought that would be cool. We are selling single shadows of the shades Nutty and Leno, which are two of my favorite shades in the palette and two of kind of your guys' favorite shades based on reviews we've gotten. So we are selling this as well, and you guys can kind of get a vibe, you know? One of the shades in here actually looks kind of like Nutty. It's like a pink to blue shift. I've noticed those are becoming very popular, which is kind of cool, because I think it's a cool duochrome shift. But all right, I think I'm gonna go in with the shade. I think I'm gonna do like more of a purpley look, so I'm gonna go in with the shade Cold Brew. Totally forgot to mention that I was supposed to be promoing the Gloss Steal. Oh, my bad. I hate this time of year because my eyes are always watery and it ruins my makeup look every time. So basically, I didn't want to do Talktorial last week just because I have a lot going on lately and I just didn't really want to talk about it. And I know I'm not like forced to talk about it just because I make a Talktorial, but I also feel like Talktorials are a little bit more vulnerable, and I didn't want to come on here and like put on a show and like pretend everything was fine, because I feel like this is the time where I usually give you guys like life updates. My life updates are sad, so I didn't really want to do that. I'm gonna go in with Rose. I like Rose. So if you don't follow me on other social medias, which you might not, I announced it there a couple weeks ago, but my grandma passed away a couple of weeks ago. She was in her late 80s. She was older. And I think it was just like a real punch in the gut. It didn't completely come out of nowhere. Basically, my grandma has always had like a really sharp mind. Like her mind was always there. Even as she got older, she never lost, she's always with it. Like we never thought there was any sort of dementia or, you know, any sort of like Alzheimer's. Like she's very with it. So a couple of years ago, I think it was probably 3 or 4 years ago, because it was when Charles and I were dating, we found out that she broke her pelvis. And that's like a really serious injury, obviously, but also if you're older, that's a really serious injury because she couldn't walk. And my grandma lived alone in Bethesda, Maryland. So she had to be put in this like inpatient facility to help, you know, recuperate from that. And I think that was really, really, really difficult for her, because my grandma always really valued her independence, you know, just really valued all of that. She valued her independence. She valued being able to do things herself. She like prided herself on it. And, you know, so into her late 80s, she was still doing everything by herself. She didn't need help. So after she hurt herself, things started deteriorating a little bit, but again, her mind was still so with it, but she just couldn't really walk anymore. Like she had to use a wheelchair. She had to have an aide who watches my videos. Hi, if you're watching this, she's the sweetest woman I've ever met, who is my grandma's age. She was such a kind person. She finally got to go home, but again, had to have an aide, and I think that just really made her very sad. And then really, really recently, my dad went down there just to like he had to like do some errands down there, and my dad went down and saw her, and we got a bit of a vibe that things weren't great. Like he, you know, stayed down there. I'm gonna go in with amazing. He went down and stayed down for a little while, and we didn't know all the details, but we knew it wasn't great. And then really suddenly, she entered hospice, and before she could even really get into hospice, she passed. So it was like, you know, it was one of those things where it's like you kind of see it coming, kind of saw it coming, but also it happened so fast. And I think that was really, really sorry, I need to pause for a second because I really don't want to cry. Yeah, I think that was just really hard. It's weird because I don't have any other grandparents. My grandma is the only grandparent that I've known since I've been alive. Technically, my mom's mom was alive for about 5 months when I was born, but I don't have any memories with her. So this has really been my only grandparent my entire life. And I feel really blessed to have had a relationship with her up until I'm like 25, obviously now. That is a really long time to have a grandparent in your life, and I feel really blessed by that. But I think the loss of a grandparent is just such a weird feeling. Like, it's something I can't even fully explain, because it's just kind of like, it just kind of feels like there's this emptiness, and you're not really sure, like something doesn't feel right. Like the world feels kind of weird, and you're not really sure why, you know, but you do know why. It's because, you know, that person isn't there. And I mean, my grandma, if we're talking like, you know, matriarch of the family, that was her. I mean, even though she lived in Maryland, I saw her, especially when I was younger, like a kid, I saw her like, you know, 3 or 4 times a year. We would go visit her. And every single Thanksgiving since I was born, I've gone to my grandma's house. And I have such like strong memories attached to that, and such strong emotions attached to Thanksgiving, because even when I started dating Charles, I skipped 2 because we alternated Thanksgivings, and this year was actually going to be a skip year. I was going to go down because I knew things were getting not good, so I was still going to go, but technically it was supposed to be our skip year. But I'm going to go in with Half Pony right here. I have such strong memories associated with like getting to her house at like, you know, midnight after driving all day Wednesday to get down there before Thanksgiving, and like her opening the door for us, and like I heard the smell of her home. Like I can picture it all so clearly in my head, and it's just very sad, honestly, is the best word. It's just sad to think about the fact that this year on Thanksgiving that's not going to happen, and like that house is just empty, you know? It's like a very, very, very weird feeling. It's a lot. And so I think what's made it all a little bit harder is that because of COVID, obviously, it's kind of hard to do things, you know, right now for people who have passed, because, you know, you can't really be gathering from all different parts of the country. So we came up with a plan for everybody who was going to be coming to Thanksgiving anyway, which I guess there was still a plan in place to do Thanksgiving, but we're all going to be this sounds so random, but the way that my family worked it out was my family, my dad's side, and all of us who go there are kind of separated into 3 groups. It's my cousins who live in Connecticut, my cousins who live in Maryland, and me and my sisters who live in New York. All 3 groups are going to like go, but we're going to be separated. They bought these like tents and space heaters, so we're each gonna kind of be in our own tent, but we can still like stand distanced apart for like a funeral, and we can still at least talk to each other a little bit, and obviously we're gonna go through the house, and each of us are gonna get to take a couple things, which is really nice. I actually like how this turned out. I think I'm gonna take that brown again and just really get in there, but it's made it a little bit strange because there's no, normally it's been, you know, you get the funeral, and it's almost like the week after you're so busy dealing with the arrangements and dealing with everything that comes with that, and, you know, focusing on that, focusing on getting through that, you know, moment, the funeral, it feels like that has been taken. So I've had just like nothing because even when we do have the funeral, it's not going to be a real, you know, funeral. It's just a service and then it's done. And I think there's just there's a lot to be said about being able to have proper closure in situations. I think not having that has really messed me up. Just made me really sad, like all the time. And I feel like because of that, my initial instinct whenever anything happens, and my dad is exactly like this, so I know where I get it from, but my initial instinct is to just kind of throw myself into projects and like not necessarily distract. Like you need to cope and, you know, deal with things. But my initial thought, I think I'm gonna do kind of an ombre of these 3 and then put this on the lower, like on the inner corner, just so I can use as many as possible, and then potentially do like this pink on the lower lash line, just so I can get a vibe of how they perform, because I'm very curious. My dad is like this too, though, where you know, we tend to distract, and, you know, I want to kind of want to be distracted, and I want to throw myself into my projects and throw myself into work and, you know, do all of that. And so I really kind of unknowingly really threw myself into YouTube the past couple of weeks, because I just was like, I just need to like do something, you know, like I didn't want to just sit around. The problem with me is I agree with giving yourself time to rest, and I agree with giving yourself time to like just do nothing. But if I allow myself to do that too much, I get very depressed. Like very depressed. So I do, while I think it's good to have self-care and, you know, take care of yourself, I also have to be really, really careful that I'm not falling into a place where I'm sad all the time and I'm not doing the things that I need to get done because I'm just too depressed to do them. So in a way, staying really busy really, really helps me not fall into that too much, which I appreciate. But on the flip side, because I'm trying so hard not to get depressed and because I'm trying so hard to stay with it and keep uploading and keep doing schoolwork, especially, I've like really thrown myself into school. I feel like I'm learning a lot right now because I'm doing like all of the readings, all the extra readings, like all of everything. That's like all fine and good. I really like this shade. Grounded. I like that one. While it's great, it's like, okay, I'm not gonna let myself get too depressed that I, you know, just ruin my life. There's also something to be said about doing it too much. And then now I feel like I've noticed that I'm just very, like, I don't know if this is oversharing, by the way, but I also feel like is something to be said about sharing your process, especially in things like grieving. Grieving is one of those weird things where everybody has their own process, and also there's just nothing you can do. Like, you can't make it better because you can't bring that person back. So you just kind of have to go through it. And I think normalizing that is a really important thing to do, because I think as a society, we think, okay, you have your week, you know, off of work, and some people don't even get back. You can get your week off of work, you can go to the funeral, and then I think people are kind of expected to just be good to go. And that is not been my experience, especially at all. I mean, I'm 2 weeks out from it, and I feel like I'm just starting to be able to process even the fact that it's happening. I feel like I'm just starting to allow myself to like feel that. But on top of that, I'm also noticing how it's affecting my day-to-day life, where it's like, I'm not normally an angry person, but I'm angry like all the time. I'm just so angry. The littlest thing will just like set me off. Like the like small things just enrage me. And that's so not how I am. Like in my normal mental health state. I'm not a super angry or like aggressive person, but lately feels like the only emotion I really know how to feel is being like annoyed or pissed off about something. I mean, thankfully I'm in a relationship with somebody who has a very good understanding of mental health and also just my mental health, and, you know, can be aware of those things, and, you know, we'll point them out gently. Point them out and be like, hey, you seem really pissed off lately. Like, what's going on? And we can talk about those things, and he's very understanding, which is really nice. But he's very understanding of those things, and that's also been really helpful. Having somebody who like understands all of that is really great. I think too, it's just been tough. Definitely been weird. Also knowing that I have to travel during obviously I don't have to, but I need to, you know, and I'm gonna be as safe as I can. We're gonna get tested before we go. I'm gonna quarantine for 2 weeks when I get back. But obviously knowing I have to make that trip and knowing I have to deal with all of this again, because I think kept me from fully closing myself, like finding that closure. You know what I mean? You know, for what it's worth, I should be sad when I do my eye makeup more, because this look turned out beautiful. It was like one of my best looks I've done in a long time. All of this to say, I'm doing okay, but I'm definitely sad. But I think that's okay. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to not be 100%. And I also think it's okay to like keep moving on with my life a little bit and not feeling like I have to be, let me go with the shade, horribly upset. I know I've had a few comments of people being a little bit worried about me because I'm posting so much content and because I'm like kind of cranking out videos lately. Don't be worried about me. I'm okay. I really am. I'm just sad, and I think that's okay. Probably should call a therapist. But that's a different video. On a real note, it's been so hard to think about finding a therapist during a pandemic. That was actually one of my goals for 2020, was to like get in with a good therapist and really start like working on stuff. And then the pandemic happened, and literally I can't wait for revisiting my resolutions during Glomus, because I remember a couple of them and I can tell you right now, none of them happened. I think I was like, I'm gonna lose weight and I think the only successful thing that I've done during quarantine that was one of my resolutions was reading more books. I've absolutely read more books lately. I'm gonna go in with this deep purple shade on the lower lash line too, just to kind of deepen up that peach. Sorry for you guys who clicked on this video just wanting a Rare Beauty review. You should probably find another channel. I'm running late right now because I'm supposed to be streaming with the half cousins in a moment. So that's gonna be it for me, you guys. Final consensus. First of all, I really only played with this one, but if this one is the same formula as this one, I actually love this. I love how the shades perform. I will say that this duochrome shade was not like the most impressive, and I also don't think that these are necessarily like glitters. They're kind of just like satiny shimmer shades that are actually gorgeous when applied to the eyes. I mean, you can see the eye look. I think it looks so just stunning, frankly. Like, I think they performed beautifully. They blended together like an absolute dream. And I think I'm actually going to use these a lot. Again, the duochrome shade was a little bit of a miss, but all of these three shades were amazing. And I can imagine that these two are similar. And if this palette has a similar formula, which let me just do a quick swatch. Okay, so the only ones, so these three obviously do really well. Gold is a little lackluster, would prefer a little bit more, you know, in your face. And this sort of, the duochromes seem to not be great, frankly. I think the duochromes, oh, I'm very dirty. Frankly, I think the duochrome shades are kind of a miss for me. But other than that, I mean, these perform actually beautifully, and I will get use out of these 100%. I believe the price point is only $24 or $25, which, maybe a little high, sticking with their theme of everything being under $30, but kind of a little pricey. I think I would have preferred something in like the $21 range. I know that's a little nitpicky, but $21 I would be like, yes, whereas like 25, I'm like, but maybe if those duochromes were a little bit better, I'd be like, yes. But if you're interested in these, I say get them. I actually think they're beautiful. I'm very pleasantly surprised. I did not think I was going to like this as much as I did. I think this turned out stunning. So yeah. And just quick reminder, quick plug, if you buy the Smokey Glow palette right now or in the next few weeks, I don't know how long the promotion's gonna be, but I'll keep you posted. If you wanna buy this, you can get a free Hi Friends gloss with your purchase, which I think is very fun. And yeah, I'm not gonna do a mandatory narcissistic montage today. I really don't have it in me, but you can see the look right here. And yeah. I love you guys so much. It's okay to be sad. If you like this video, if you did, please like and subscribe, or just like, or just subscribe, or do neither. Honestly, just so happy you're watching me. Thank you so much for being here. My merch, my social media, and everything I am wearing on my face will be linked down below, along with a link to make a plan to vote. That's right, we're not registering anymore. Well, do if your state allows you to and you're not, but we're not really registering anymore. We are voting. So please, 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 please start figuring out how you're gonna vote. Early voting, voting by mail, like how long you might have to wait at the polls, the polling place near you, what the best time of day to go is. Start making your voting plan and who you're gonna vote for and all that jazz. It should be a Democrat. Start making that plan now, please and thank you. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!